very warm welcome from Luzern, from Lake Luzern, or as they say in Switzerland, Vierwaldstättersee. That's in the heart of Switzerland, and it's literally hot outside because we are here in summer, boiling temperatures up to 30 degrees, but we are cooling down here at Embassy. That's our partner today. We are making some nice videos with Embassy together, WatchAdvisor.com. I'm Alexander Linz, head of content, and what we are going to show you guys are a variety of extra slim watches, the nicest you find on the market actually, and you will be amazed. So these watches are big trend. The watches get thinner, get more elegant, and what we are going to bring to you in a couple of minutes are these watches. And if you have seen the video, don't be sure to watch the entire video, of course, and don't forget at the end to have a look at the QR code that will be screened. And if you are taking advantage of the QR code, there's a little very Swissness surprise waiting for you. In front of me here on the tray are 5 automatic watches. And can you imagine that 4 of them are as slim as this 5 franc coin, Swiss franc coin. This is a Swiss franc coin, 5 Swiss francs, ultra thin. And 4 of those watches that I'm going to present you now are as thin as this coin. And they are automatic watches. They are watches that wind themselves by the movement of your wrist. We have the Hermès, Slim Hermès. We have the BVLGARI Octo Finissimo. We have the Jaeger-LeCoultre Master. We have the Piaget Altipiano, and also on the tray, but not as slim as a 5 franc coin, the Audemars Piguet, Royal Oak, ultra thin, and we're also going to show you this watch because it's a sport watch, but for a sport watch, still very slim and very comfortable to wear. And since it's a sport watch, we can agree that the watch is a little thicker, and it's also due to the fact that the case is more waterproof than the other watches here. But beginning to say again, these watches are wound automatically, so all the watches do have an automatic rotor, either on the back side or like the Piaget Altiplano, a peripheral rotor. The rotor will oscillate around the dial, so you have the full view on the watch at any time. If you take the BVLGARI, it has a micro rotor, a small micro rotor, and if you take the Hermès, you will also discover a micro rotor that winds the watch. Automatic watches, and as thin as almost a 5 franc coin. There are different possibilities to achieve the goal to manufacture an ultra thin automatic movement. Either you make it the way Piaget did it. By the way, it's big cinema for the wrist because you see the entire movement. It's presented to you on as a dial, more or less. So you have the hour indication. It's a sub-dial integrated in the movement, or if you wish, the movement is decorated around the dial. But anyhow, there are different ways to achieve the goal to have an automatic watch in that size. I always remember we're talking about a 5 Swiss franc coin size. It's really very thin, very, very thin. Piaget chose the way to have the winding rotor as a peripheral rotor that will wind by turning around the movement. I hope that the camera is able to catch the movement of the rotor. There is here, if you look at the position of 6 o'clock, there's something written on the rotor. And if I move it to the left, you will see that there's something moving. That's called a peripheral rotor. And by the movement, the caliber of Piaget is wound. So that's the one way to achieve such an ultra thin watch. The second possibility you have to manufacture such an ultra thin watch, and I still want you to see the comparison in between the Swiss franc, the 5 franc coin, and the BVLGARI Octo Finissimo. We are close, very close. The second possibility is to have a movement with a micro rotor. And you see here, there's a micro rotor that will, with your movements of your hand, turn and wind the watch. So there will be power injected to the barrel, and the barrel will deliver the power to the escapement and make the watch run. But it's a fantastic idea. It was a fantastic idea of Bulgari to create such a movement with such a micro rotor, since they achieved an unbelievable thinness and elegant watch. If you see that Octo Finissimo, we are talking in the watch industry about iconic designs, and I dare to say every 10 years there is an iconic design created, or some company is able to create an iconic design. And I think the decade of the actual design that is really remarkable and will be remembered in the future is the design of that Octo Finissimo. It's the design of that decade. Congratulations to Bulgari, and it's a very elegant and very, very thin watch. Let us still stay with the concept of a small micro rotor. Also Hermès did choose the way by having a micro rotor. You see, let me move it for you. You can see the movement, and it's the way of Hermès doing it in the slim Hermès. The watch is very, very elegant. The typo on the dial, the way the interpretation of the numbers is typical for Hermès. They work together with a famous French designer to come to that very typical writing on the dial. And if you're now wondering if Hermès is able to manufacture such a watch by themselves, yes, they are. You have a Vaucher movement. Vaucher is a Swiss movement manufacturer, and Hermès has bought 25% of Vaucher, so they are manufacturing their own movements by sharing the power and sharing the possibilities of Vaucher. The cases are made at Hermès, and the dials are made at Hermès, and the straps, of course, because Hermès is a specialist on leather. But this is really an Hermès wristwatch. It's not only printing the name Hermès on a dial and a kind of a marketing watch. That's a real Hermès watch, and also very thin. And let me show you once again that comparison with that 5 Swiss franc coin. These watches are really amazing, and then they're a good size. All the watches are about 40 millimeters. They fit well on your wrist, look gorgeous, and it's a big new trend to have such ultra thin watches, and you don't need to worry about winding, since, as I already explained to you, there's a micro rotor winding the watch, and there's a power reserve of around 50 hours. So even if you take the watch off your wrist, you will still have enough power reserve then. The very famous manufacturer Jaeger-LeCoultre, or as the French pronounce it, Jaeger-LeCoultre, they also have an ultra thin watch in the program or in their collection, but in difference to what we have seen before, it has a central rotor. If we move it, you will see the rotor is centered positioned on the movement, on the caliber, and is taking advantage of your movements of your arm to transform it to energy for the barrel. But it's put on, but the rotor is very, very, very thin. If you look closer at it, you will see that it's a very thin rotor. It's the way Jaeger-LeCoultre is doing it. The watch is still very slim, not as slim as the others if we take the comparison of our 5 francs here, but still on the wrist, fits perfectly on the wrist. 38.5 millimeters, has a small second at 6 o'clock, a very elegant watch, just indexes on the dial, nothing that would disturb the beautiful design. It's a fantastic and good looking wristwatch. Last but not least, of course, the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. And if you know Royal Oak, that's a sport watch. That's a very elegant sport watch. Royal Oak is of course not as thin as the others if we take that comparison once again, but still for a sport watch that is pretty dimension that we would accept as an ultra thin watch. It's about 9.8 millimeters, so it's not so huge. And also Audemars Piguet is using a central rotor. That's their own in-house caliber, the 3120. And you see the rotor again. I'm moving it for you. It's a rotor made out of gold, 24 karat gold, to make the rotor more heavy and more efficient when winding the watch. It's a very beautiful, really very beautiful and absolutely stunning sport watch. Fits perfectly on your wrist, is very thin compared to many other sport watches, and it's also the only watch in our little comparison that offers a date indication. And already the date indication will cause a little bit more hate, in the sense of that the watch is of course not as thin as the others, but for a sport watch and for an Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, that's really a very thin and very elegant watch. So guys, did you enjoy our little presentation about those ultra thin automatic watches? And still remember, you're wearing a 5 Swiss franc coin on your wrist. It's amazing. It's technology that makes that happen today. It's the possibility to manufacture such a movement. And for me personally, if we look at the watches I just presented to you, it would be very hard to choose one. I would take all of them because I love them. The Audemars Piguet for the sporty tire, for sporty activities. The Jaeger-LeCoultre is a very nice one. The slim Hermès with the typography on the dial is amazing. The BVLGARI is a design watch, couldn't be better. And the Altiplano from Piaget is cinema, big cinema for the wrist, because the watch offers you the entire movement, so you can really watch the movement working. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Did you make your choice? Is there one of the watches we have been showing you your favorite? Maybe the BVLGARI. I'm standing here in front of the BVLGARI sign. It could be the BVLGARI. You have to tell us, and I'm hoping that you're going to leave a little comment under this video. Thanks for watching anyhow. Take advantage, scan the QR code. If you come to Luzern, you have to go to embassy, show the QR code, and they will surprise you with some very delicate Swiss chocolate, a delicate Swiss chocolate experience even. So it's not only getting chocolate, you have to do something for it. Thanks for watching, and if you liked our videos, as always, please don't forget to like them.